What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and Kyle coming back today talking more rankings because rankings are what everybody want this time of year. Kyle, the NFL draft is over. People want some numbers, so this is what we're doing today. We're establishing the baseline for some ball catchers. For the wide receivers, we got to start somewhere. So we're starting right here, and we can make our adjustments throughout the offseason, but it's a great area for us to start. We got our rankings here, our top 25 wide receivers. We're going to put them side by side so you can see both where me and Kyle have these guys. But Kyle, heading into these rankings, I have a feeling, A, because I've already seen them, but B, that a lot of people are going to have the top few guys almost in the same order.
Yeah, to me, rankings are a lot like the holidays, right? You look forward to them, you get some time off. Like there's good things that come with the holidays, but then they get here and you get done with them and you're like, those suck. Like why is everyone excited about that?
Yeah. I mean,
that's rankings. People are like, I gotta see rankings videos, and they're like, you idiots.
How dare you not know everything in May? Yeah, but this is where we're going to start off, and we're gonna knock the top 3 off in one fell swoop.
We could really knock the top 5 off because there's one little difference.
Okay, perfect. Let me just reveal the top 5 here real quick because we got Davante Adams at number 1 for both of us. Tyreek Hill, number 2 for both of us. Stephon Diggs, number 3 for both of us. And then out of 4 and 5, we have DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Brown. Kyle has just swapped A.J. Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. So Davante Adams, we really don't need to discuss. The only issue with him is if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers or not. If he's not, he drops down the list. Otherwise, the guy deserves to be number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, Tyreek Hill. There was
who
some
apparently is better than Randy Moss.
Yeah, there was some stupidity on Twitter here. I mean, there is some stupid people out there, and to even think that Tyreek Hill is the best deep threat to have ever played in the NFL.
Stop it. Tyreek Hill is good. He is not Randy Moss.
I am not convinced that John Ross couldn't be the same thing in that offense. So I'm sorry. Nothing against Tyreek. I'm just saying, you got somebody with elite speed and a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. Every time there's a single high safety or single coverage and he burns them, it's a deep ball waiting to happen. So, I mean, it could literally, put other people in that position. But no disrespect to Tyreek Hill. He's producing, and he's in a great offense for his skill set. Number 3, Stephon Diggs, the league leader in receiving last year, which caught a lot of people off guard, myself included. I wasn't expecting that big of a year, but he's definitely somebody who now going into this year, he's going to be the top target for a high-powered offense once again in Buffalo. Number 4, DeAndre Hopkins, where you have at 5. I mean, we know he's got the eye of Kyler Murray. He's going to see huge volume. And A.J. Brown, there's nobody else to catch passes in Tennessee besides A.J. Brown. He's going to see ridiculous target numbers here this year.
I agree with everything you said.
Is there anything you disagree with?
There's nothing that I disagree with there.
Perfect. Let's move on to number 6 then. I have Justin Jefferson, terrific rookie wide receiver last year, coming into his second year. You have Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons. For me, Jefferson and that ceiling in the second year of this offense with a great offseason. He didn't have any offseason last year, so you give him that extra work here this year. The guy was almost unguardable last year, and what really helps him out is having Adam Thielen on the opposite side because they have another person they need to pay attention to.
Yep. No, I think Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen complement each other very well. And I think as the season went on, you saw that Justin Jefferson became the volume big play guy. Adam Thielen is going to make his living with points in the red zone. I mean, he was a great red zone target, great end zone target, but Justin Jefferson is going to be the guy outside of the 20s that is really going to be the main target.
Yep. So for Calvin Ridley there in Atlanta, I have a couple spots lower, and it's really just because you got Julio Jones still in town, and then they drafted Kyle Pitts. And if Kyle Pitts takes away anything in the red zone, that limits the scoring opportunities for Calvin Ridley. And I don't dislike him whatsoever. He's still inside my top 10, but I have him just a few spots lower.
Yeah. I mean, and I agree with that argument. I think you could definitely go a few spots lower and be okay with it. I think me personally, I'm thinking that Julio Jones at this age, I'm still drafting Julio Jones. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying I think we see a point where maybe there's a few more games where he's just not 100%, and instead of trying to fight through it, he starts to take that off so he can prolong the career a little bit more.
Yep, number 7, I have DK Metcalf, Seattle Seahawks. This is where you have Justin Jefferson, who we talked about. For DK, you only have him one spot lower at number 8. So this guy's a man-child, right? I mean, he started off the season in 2020 looking like, dude, this guy could go for like 1,800 yards this year.
People were saying that he was the number one wide receiver in 2021 for the first 6 games of 2020. That's how good he was playing.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing on a different level. He's dropped down a few spots because of the commitment to Seattle wanting to run the ball a little bit more. Plus, I do think that they still try to involve Tyler Lockett. And most importantly, I love the signing of Gerald Everett in the red zone. We know Russ looks for his tight ends in the red zone. Does that limit some potential touchdowns from DK Metcalf? I got him at 7. You got him at 8. 8's where I have Calvin Ridley, who we just touched on. Number 9, I have Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints. You have Keenan Allen of the Los Angeles Chargers. I love me some Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen is very undervalued this year. I think he could definitely be a top wide receiver. Michael Thomas, I kind of look at it like this. I think his ceiling is higher with Jameis Winston. I feel like his floor is still fairly safe with Taysom Hill just due to the volume and the target share he's going to get. I think the peak Michael Thomas days are over. And before you wear out that glass in front of that jersey, go ahead and speak on Keenan Allen.
I just kept doing it because I could see you looking away, trying not to break.
I was trying.
I do love me some Keenan Allen. I mean, Justin Herbert, I was excellent for him last season. This is a guy that is just every single year is continuously overlooked as being a wide receiver 1. It's just because there's people that fantasy owners look at and they're like, I see a little bit more of a ceiling with this guy. Keenan Allen is going to be super safe. Michael Thomas, for me, it's all about who the quarterback's going to be. If it's Jameis Winston, I like it more. Taysom Hill peppered Michael Thomas last year with a lot of targets, but I think he loses a lot of his ceiling.
Yeah, I think it just remains that safer floor because of the volume he sees. They're all going to be short routes. Let's see here. Number 10, we agree. We agree on number 10. It's Allen Robinson of the Chicago Bears. Now, Allen Robinson has put up Pro Bowl numbers with Mitch Trubisky, with Blake Bortles, with Nick Foles, and now, even in my opinion, he gets Andy Dalton, quote unquote, to start the season. And I still think Andy Dalton may be the best quarterback he's had in his career. And then you have the fact that he could also have Justin Fields at some point throughout the season. And I think Justin Fields is going to be better than all of them. So this may be an opportunity for a wide receiver who we know is going to be hovering right around that 150 target range to go out there and have a massive year. I got him right now, number 10.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Allen Robinson could go higher than this. This might be the best season that we've seen from him. Just again, though, Matt Nagy sucks. I mean, he's not very good. He's a bad head coach. He's a bad play caller.
Yeah, he limits upsides of players by trying to be too cute at times.
Yep.
And let's see, your number 11. I have Keenan Allen, who we talked about already. I'm not going to make you, stroke or.
Can you hear the planes?
No, I cannot.
That's like 3 planes now, like directly overhead. We've got an airport only a few miles away, so they cross over a lot, but they're freaking loud right now.
You're hearing them today.
It's making 11, the house rumble.
Perfect. I haven't seen it. Now, if it starts to rumble and we can hear it, maybe they're a little bit too low. Let's see. Your number 11 is what's where I have Keenan Allen. You have Terry McLaurin, who I have only 1 spot lower at number 12. Love us some Terry McLaurin with some Ryan Fitzmagic under center. This could be an opportunity for him to have bigger weeks on a more consistent basis because this will maybe be the best quarterback play he's had, in recent time.
Yes, and we know little Fitzmagic.
Dude, we like ourselves some Fitzmagic.
Tossing the ball down the field, that chest hair popping out.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I love it. Love it. All right, so Terry McLaurin, who I have at 12, you have Michael Thomas. We've already spoke on them. Number 13, I have Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In my opinion, between him and Godwin, I think Evans has the higher touchdown upside, and that's really the only reason why I have him a slight smidgen higher. But this is where you have Julio Jones is at 13.
Yeah, like I said with Julio, I mean, I do not categorize him as a guy that is injury prone.
Right.
He's his entire career, it seems like he deals with a lot of injuries. Typically, more often than not, he's played through them. But I think now that we're getting kind of into the twilight portion of his career, with some of those injuries, they might say, hey, instead of trying to push it this week, we have all these weapons here. It's not like we need to have you out there because you're our only weapon. So I just think we might see a little bit more of that. Again, I'm not going to purposely not draft him. I might not take him at the end of the first like I have in the past. Just got him a little bit lower.
Yep, agreed. I got him 1 spot lower at 14. That's where you have Evans. So we have those two flip-flopped. Do you see Evans being the higher touchdown guy in Tampa Bay? Is that why you have him a little bit higher than Godwin?
I do, because like early in the season last year, you question, not you, people, everybody,
you people,
other people, yeah, questioned, Tom Brady, can he still go down the field? Tom Brady was actually one of the better deep ball passers last year. That's where Mike Evans makes his living. Yeah, it's going to be another really good season for Mike Evans this year.
Yep, and 15 is where we both have Chris Godwin.
Yep.
I think maybe the volume goes the way of Chris Godwin, but the production goes the way of Mike Evans, and that's kind of how we have it right now.
Yep.
Number 16, I have Bobby Trees, Robert Woods. You have Amari Cooper of the Dallas Cowboys, we just have them flip-flopped, right? Because at 17, I have Cooper, you have Woods.
We both have DJ Moore at 18.
Exactly.
Just group them all together again.
Perfect. We'll clump these three together. So for Robert Woods, I still think he's the safest option there with now Matthew Stafford under center. I think he just soaks up the target volume and he becomes a PPR monster like he has been every single year. Amari Cooper plays great with Dak Prescott. As long as Dak Prescott is 100% healthy, Amari Cooper has that high ceiling potential. The biggest issue with him, he's got to split with Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. So how does that really affect things, especially if they want to make sure that Zeke still gets his 20-plus touches? And then for DJ Moore, I would like to put him higher. I really would. Mm-hmm. I'd like Sam Darnold in Carolina. What I don't like is the Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson prior chemistry from New York. And then they went out and drafted Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU, who his offensive coordinator in college was Joe Brady, who is the offensive coordinator of Carolina. There's a little bit of too much tied together where I think it could just limit the ceiling of DJ Moore a little bit.
Yeah. So for Amari Cooper, yep. I'm a guy, always Amari, always have been. Still not going to fade him this year because when Dak Prescott was healthy last year, Amari was the clear-cut wide receiver one. He was getting peppered with targets. You still got other guys on the field, though, who are going to get targets, so it limits a lot of that upside. With Robert Woods, it's the same thing as well. We've got Cooper Kupp there, but Robert Woods is the guy. He gets peppered with targets. We know that he's going to make plays. He does every single season. Those touchdowns that we needed, though, like he only scored, 2 touchdowns in 2019? Those touchdowns came back in 2020, which was good to see. Can we put it all together now? That would be awesome and I don't know if we're going to see Robert Woods play the Kenny Golladay role and then like Golden Tate role of, when Matthew Stafford was in Detroit as Cooper Kupp. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. DJ Moore for me, listen, I'm kind of conflicted on this one. I want to go higher because when Sam Darnold was the starter, when Sam Darnold as the starter in New York absolutely wore out Jamison Crowder in the slot. Mm-hmm. Does DJ Moore go to the slot? I don't know that yet. If he does, and half PPR and full PPR leagues, I could see him getting a little bit more along that 14 to 13 range. But I got to see in training camp what happens with that. I don't know if that's where he's going. He might still be on the outside.
Yeah, that's a big question mark. We need to wait and see here as the offseason progresses. Number 19, this is where I have Adam Thielen. You have CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys, who I have just a few spots lower, similar to you. You have Thielen a couple spots lower than I do. For me, it's about that touchdown upside. We mentioned it with Jefferson earlier, right? He's going to be the guy getting the bulk of the yardage, but a lot of touchdowns go the way of Adam Thielen. That's why he's still here for me inside the top 20. For you, though, CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb really showed flashes, and CeeDee Lamb could be the reason that Michael Gallup sees a lot less volume. He could be the reason that Amari Cooper is maybe not in Dallas as long as some people may be led to believe.
I think this could be Amari Cooper's final season in Dallas.
It could be.
So I agree with that 100%, even loving Cooper. The thing about CeeDee Lamb last year is we just saw, even though he played well, there were some inconsistencies. There were some balls that he dropped last year where I was like, this is not the CeeDee Lamb that we saw when he was at Oklahoma. So, those things kind of showed up out of nowhere last year, which were kind of odd. I think he takes care of those things. He's got good hands, so I don't think that's something that happens year after year. That's why I have him at 19. Adam Thielen, for me, I am concerned because so much of his fantasy points last year were driven by touchdowns. That concerns me.
Yeah, and that's definitely a risk that you take, right? But hopefully by the time you get to wide receiver 19, you already have those solid options probably in your lineup, at least one solid option, and you're not reliant on him to be your wide receiver one.
How many times last year did I list? There was 2 times last year that I listed Adam Thielen as a sit, and I was right. through about 3 quarters in 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden the dude in the fourth quarter, because they were down, scores 2 touchdowns. I'm like, son of a...
Yep. I mean, it happened numerous times last year because I remember texting back and forth thinking, see, I told you I nailed Thielen this week. And then there's like 5 minutes left in the game. The dude scores a touchdown and it was a miss. Yeah.
Yep.
He's kind of like your kryptonite at this point.
He is.
Number 20, I have Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have Kenny Golladay of now the New York Football Giants. Deontay Johnson is just going to be the guy that sees the volume in this offense. We saw it last year. It'll be that way again. His biggest issue is he needs to hold on to the damn ball because if he could catch, if he had less drops, the numbers this guy would put up would be absolutely ginormous. So he's still going to see that volume in a high-powered passing offense. You have Kenny Golladay there. I don't dislike it. I'm just worried about Daniel Jones, and I think he's going to have FOBO more times than not, where he's going to drop back and he's going to have so many options he just gets confused.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing with Kenny Golladay is I think we see some inconsistencies from him. He's going to have some good weeks, but I think he's going to have some weeks where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I started him. And that's just going to come with that Daniel Jones progression. Does he take a step forward, or do we see the same thing we saw last year with Deontay Johnson? Yeah, it's the drops. You got to take care of the drops. And if the drops continue to be an issue, how long is it before we look Chase Claypool's way more often? Juju Smith-Schuster still got a ton of targets last year. Now they have an upgraded run game from last year. So do we see them run a little bit more? That's why I've got that ceiling a lot lower on Deontay this year.
Yep, 21, I have DJ Chark, who you do not have in your top 25. I like me some DJ Chark in Jacksonville. I got some spiciness coming on him down the road. But the addition of Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback, a poor offensive line, and a poor defense, we could be seeing a lot of garbage points this year from DJ Chark. He's somebody who could be racking up those second half points because they're trailing and they're having to throw with Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence has to scramble to avoid that pass rush because the offensive line can't hold their blocks, I like the opportunity for some big plays, some broken plays going the way of DJ Chark. That's why I have him at 21. This is where you have Adam Thielen.
If they didn't add Marvin Jones, I would have DJ Chark within my top 25. I think I probably have Marvin Jones a little bit higher than what you do, and you have Chark higher. So I think that's the thing, is I just think Marvin Jones may end up being that guy for Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. 22, Tyler Lockett, who's who I have there from the Seattle Seahawks. You have Cooper Kupp. For Tyler Lockett, he's a headache, right? He's going to score 25 one week. He's going to score 2 the next week. And I think the problem with it is we really want him to be that high-end wide receiver 2. But I really think he's kind of like the low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 range because of those inconsistencies. That's why I've dropped him down to 22. For Cooper Kupp, I like the opportunity of Cooper Kupp. The only reason I have him actually just one spot lower, I mean, we saw what he was with Jared Goff, and he was Jared Goff's top target, especially in the red zone. When it came to scoring touchdowns, Cooper Kupp was the guy he was looking for. Is it the same way with Matthew Stafford, or do they go somewhere else?
Yeah. No, I think Cooper Kupp is a guy that definitely could be peppered with a lot of targets, especially earlier on in the season when maybe, Stafford's still trying to get a feel for the offense and everything like that. And, just build that rapport with these guys. If we're getting rid of the ball a little bit quicker, it might be Cooper that sees that to start with. Tyler Lockett, having him outside my 25 is absolutely no disrespect to him. I feel like I have been a guy that's always been much higher on Tyler Lockett than other people. I mean, he was my dude coming out. I really liked him coming out of the draft. I didn't think he got enough respect. There's been over the last couple of years where people have been like, I can't go anywhere near Tyler Lockett. He worries me. And I've been like, no, you got to go get him. This is the year where I think I'm finally going to cool on him. And I'm going to say, yeah, the connection is great with Russ. But having DK Metcalf there and the potential to run more is really going to hurt him this year.
Yep, agreed. 23, this is where I had Cooper Kupp. We just spoke on him. You have Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I don't have Odell in my top 25, but once we start seeing more film of Odell recovering from his injuries and out there at 100%, he's probably going to creep back into it. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, not touching it. All he does is burn me every single year because of the injuries.
I get
it. But the difference this year is all about the ADP, all about the price. You're going to get him at the cheapest price you can ever get him in his entire career this year, which means that the risk is a lot lower. Odell Beckham could be like your wide receiver 3
on
some rosters.
And if you want to argue that Jarvis Landry should be in the top 25 and Odell Beckham Jr. should be out, that's fine. I mean, we like Jarvis Landry. I mean, we like this offense as a whole. The one thing is that somebody's going to have to be the alpha wide receiver. Will it be Odell Beckham Jr.? Will it be Landry? And they're still going to run the ball a lot. But I trust Baker Mayfield to get it done. If Odell Beckham Jr. is healthy for 16 games, I just don't know how he doesn't finish as a top 25 wide receiver. The dude is still too talented.
Yeah, and it may not be that huge ceiling. It may not be a weekly, huge expectation for him, which is fine because, like I said, you're not having to rely on him weekly as being one of your top guys on your roster here this year. So for 24, I have CeeDee Lamb, who we already spoke on. You have Deontay Johnson. Rounding out the top 25. 25 is where I have Kenny Galladay. I don't dislike Kenny G. Like I said, I'm just more worried in Daniel Jones than anything else. You have Brandon Ayuk, though, of the San Francisco 49ers, which is pretty intriguing. I loved Ayuk last year, and I feel like I was on an island last year, partly because he played at Arizona State, where I'm from. So, I mean, maybe I was a little bit biased, but then he turned out to be a pretty good player, right? I think a lot of people realize that in this Kyle Shanahan offense, the guy can put up some points. The difference for me this year is the health, right? He accelerated his production a little bit last year because he was the only option at times. Debo was hurt, Kittle was hurt. Now all of a sudden those guys are back and healthy. How do they have a split is the biggest question.
Yeah, and Debo Samuel could be right here too. I mean, I've got these guys right next to each other. It could be Ayuk. It could be Debo. You could go either way with it. I think we're going to see one guy have a big game one week, one guy have a big game another week. I just think we'll see Brandon Ayuk be the guy that's a little bit more creatively used moving forward, kind of like Debo Samuel was his first year.
Yep, agreed. So that's the top 25 wide receivers. And obviously, your rankings are going to look different. And that's cool because if we always agree, it'd be pointless to ever watch a video. But let's get together. Let's help each other out and help come up with these rankings so that we have the best possible rankings by the end of the year. So leave us a comment down below. Let us know maybe how you see things differently. Maybe you see an offense a different way than we do. That's cool. Leave it down below in the comment section. Me and Kyle would love to interact with you guys and talk. If you go back over the past few weeks, almost all of our videos, we're getting comments returned to you. We're trying our best to get to as many of them as we possibly can because we know once the season starts, it's hard. So let's have this opportunity here in the off season to talk and hang out a little bit. We look forward to those communications and those comments. Do us a favor though, hit the like button. It's the off season. Views are down. Just hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here. And if you're looking for some bonus content, some extra materials, some cool emojis, the join button right next to the subscriber button is a way to do that for just $4.99 a month. Make sure you just check it out. Me and Kyle made a cute little video to throw in there. Just go watch the video. See if you're interested in it. Right, Kyle?
Hit the join. Hit the join.
Every single ranking show this week so far, you have ended it with singing.
Hit the join.
And I can't. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.